heart and soul of the game is at the Boxing Voice. Ain't no other site in the game could see the Boxing Voice.
John David Jackson, boxing. Right now, John David Jackson.
Hey John, how you doing? Good fight. Do you think if you had more time with Chris Algieri, we would have seen maybe more of an improvement, and maybe this fight would have been a little differently? Because there were a lot of improvements a lot of people were saying about Chris Algieri.
Thank you very much for that compliment. Yes, this fight was we rushed into it, so we didn't get a chance to really have the months together to really get to know each other the way we wanted to. But Chris is a great student of boxing. He definitely listened to me and he learned. And while we didn't get the victory, we definitely got a victory in defeat anyway, because he definitely showed that he's a way better fighter than people gave him credit for being. I believe the Collins people kind of underestimated for a long time until about the last 3 weeks of the fight, and then they got serious. Would I like to have a rematch? Yeah, but I don't think Collins wants that. I think they're trying to get that lottery fight with Pacquiao. So, we'll go back to the drawing board. And like I said, Chris is a good student of boxing. He listens and he learns. He believes in what I'm telling him and showing him, so he can only improve at this point.
John, before the fight, you said that the weapon of choice would be the right hand, and Chris Algieri definitely landed a lot of right hands tonight. How close did you have it on the scorecards?
I had like a draw. I could give Amir 115, 113. It could have been a draw. You could have given it to Chris. It depends on what the judges were looking at. It was a good fight. It was close. If you ask me in my heart, I gave it to Chris. That's my guy. And it was close, but I thought he won the fight. Unfortunately, he had a decision. But in defeat, he still came out better than Amir did.
Hey John, I'll Fight News. So, in his last outing against Pacquiao, he was not as aggressive as he was tonight. Is that something you've been working on? And how much have you got left to work on?
Well, there's a lot that's left to work on, but for this particular fight, he was aggressive because he needed to be, because Amir is more of a boxer. Inside boxing is not his game, and I knew that he didn't have inside the game. If you watch me, he did a lot of grabbing. That's all he really does on the inside, and I knew that Chris would be the better inside fighter, which he proved. He had better body shots, and it just wasn't as nice, but he definitely came out on top the way I thought he should have.
John, Chris Conner with Cyber Station Radio in Boston. You did great work, Kovalev. Algieri now is a talk of Twitter and talk a lot of boxing fans. Do you feel this helps you now recruiting higher profile fighters to work with you? I mean, you now have a guy who's the boxing whisperer, the new guy who can teach guys who are broken down and make them into almost superstars.
Well, here's my thing, that take on that, and I thank you for those compliments. Boxing doesn't have that many teachers any longer. You got a lot of guys that talk, but never walk the walk. I went to world titles myself, and I've developed 5 world champions, and I've worked with many, but I developed 5 of my own, and a lot of guys haven't done that recently. So, it's a sad state of boxing to a degree because there's no teachers anymore. Everybody just works on what the fighter does best, but they don't teach any better than what they are. I've proven more than once that I can teach any fighter how to fight any style, because I could fight any style when I was boxing. So, it's affected my cap. I knew, and I said this before the fight, win, lose, or draw, he was going to be a better fighter, come out a better fighter than they going in, and people would really start to recognize him and his potential as a fighter. So he did me a great service as well as himself. And I've been a teacher of boxing because my trainer, Georgie Benton, was a great teacher, and I learned from him. And so I'm trying to just pass those teachings on to other fighters if they're willing to listen and learn.
John, you spoke of Khan not being a good inside fighter. Did you complain to the ref of the pushing down of the head and during those clinches?
I did once, but he wasn't listening to that. He kept saying, "Well, your fighter's holding." My fighter wasn't holding. Khan was holding. Khan was pushing his head down, and so I couldn't cry so much about it. But after the first time, I said, "Okay, we're in a fight, so I can care less." I just told my guy, "Listen, you got to kind of negate that and kind of somehow." Keep him from just grabbing. So I said, how you do that? Every time you grab, just punch, whatever hand's free, just punch him with the other hand until the referee stops you. That's how you stop him from grabbing you so much.
Now you spoke also of being a teacher, but this makes you 0-2 versus Virgil Hunter.
Well, listen, Virgil is very two good fighters, but in this fight here, you don't think that I show better than the teacher that he does? But this kid didn't do anything he's supposed to do. He ran and picked. My guy fought a totally different fight from his previous fight. He fought totally different, and he did well at what he did, and he executed his plan very well. So my teaching definitely showed that I can teach. Colin ran. He ran, held and grabbed. All he wanted was to get that lottery, which is Floyd Mayweather. He didn't dominate this fight. He didn't come out the victor because a lot of people questioned if he won this fight. So you tell me who's the better teacher? I showed my kid showed what he was taught in class. Burgos didn't.
John, how much have you been teaching Algier? I mean, we know he came from a kickboxing background.
Yeah.
When you first took over, how many bad habits have you been trying to break with him in terms of making him into almost a pure boxer rather than just an action-packed guy who throws a lot of punches in kickboxer, boxer style?
Well, I didn't have the time to show him everything I needed to show him. So what I did was I showed him what he needed for this particular fight. And that's what I had to work with because I knew how Amir fights and we had to work on that style. So I couldn't show him everything that he needs to be shown, or there's certain things that he's doing that he's lacking or that he's not doing correctly. But as time goes on, he will learn all those different things that he needs to become a way better fighter than he even showed tonight.
John, Chris fought at an incredible pace, especially in the first early rounds.
Yes.
Was that part of the game plan? And also, how impressed have you been with his, he's kind of known for his stamina and the incredible work ethic he has. How impressed have you been in the gym with him in terms of that quality?
Very impressed. You're right. That was one of the things that we worked on because, I looked at it and I said, listen, that's the one thing you had is one thing that I did. My work rate when I was a fighter was so, I made guys work more than they wanted to work past their ability, and that's how I beat a lot of guys because they weren't ready for that kind of pace. And I knew he had the same thing in him. Most guys don't train like they should these days. They've been pampered, they're crybabies, they want everything, they don't want to work for it. This kid's want to work in the way to do to get to it. So I knew he would do what I asked him to do, and I knew that the pace that he was set would be one that Amir really couldn't deal with. And down the stretch, he started to fade. And so, in the future, he'll be a way better fighter, and the stamina issue will help him even more because of his work rate in these type of fights.
John, in tonight's fight, is there anything that you saw that you would like to work on or tweak in Chris's repertoire?
There are a few things that he's still not doing that he could do better at. We'll look at the fight and we'll talk about it. I'll show him, but he definitely did better than a lot of people gave him credit for. They were giving him credit for the fight to do. He definitely showed that he's definitely a student of the game, and he's willing to listen and learn and execute the game plan. And that makes me proud of him because he took time to listen and learn, and then come fight that he did it. He didn't just do it in the gym and come fight and go back to his old style. He was willing to sacrifice his style to make him a better fighter using my style of teaching for this fight. And it worked for him. He didn't win, but trust me, he still came out way better here than Amir did.
2 more questions.
John, are you confident that you will remain as head trainer? So many times we see fighters change trainers and then lose and change again. Do you think that Chris will stay with you even in this loss?
Why would he want to change? I mean, listen, he and I have a great bond. We were forming a great bond. And if what I did from work tonight, even in defeat, why would he go anyplace else? Who's going to teach him? Who's going to go out there and show him how to fight a different fight that needs to be fought? That's my job, to make you better than what you already are at any type of style. And so, why would he go any other place? I mean, if he wanted to, who am I to stop him? But I doubt that he would at this stage.
John, in a perfect world, how much time do you want in between fights now for Algier to basically get your hands on him, as you said, make the tweaks, make the changes, and start breaking his bad habits and getting him to where you want him to be going forward?
Well, since we live in a perfect world, I can't tell him it's time. But, the next fight will start in actually this stage of his career and where he's at. It depends on the opponent, what we have to do. It's not so much just trying to tweak everything. It depends on the opponent on what we have to do. But, each opponent's different, so it allows me to work on different things with each passing fight.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.